Sheena, do you think a joint collaboration between both NSAs to source for a new facility could work? As we just touched on it, if private and public funding plus resources from the government sector, you think it will work?
Yeah, I think it will. I would think like that's what Diane mentioned, like to build a purpose ice hockey rink for us, it will definitely have more time slots available for our current hockey players to train and further their skills. And also we can have a regional ice hockey camp for like different countries to come and like they can share their knowledge of ice hockey. And even like in this way we can build our ice hockey skills to the next level. And the third one will be more important to garner more interest among the young players, and also get more interest for those who do not know more about ice hockey, because currently the ice hockey rink is at Jurong East only. Those staying in the east or other parts of Singapore may not want to travel so far to the rink at such weird timings. So with another rink built at maybe different parts of Singapore, I believe that it will be more accessible and reach out to more players out there.
And besides all the people that we said, that the schools and the community, you touched on the fact that maybe visiting teams can also transit in Singapore, hold their own training camp here en route to another country for a tournament.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you all are trying to push for this, so I mean, kudos. Let's see what happens. Ideally, what would be the best scenario for ice hockey to train and play in Singapore?
Like what I've mentioned above, like more training ice slots, more active gyms around, etc.
Okay. Alvin, from the school's point of view, are you able to tell us how many actually have ice hockey as one of the CCAs, or is it only confined to a handful, or just purely down to the lack of venues?
Not even a handful. I think at the moment we have one, which is Hwa Chong International. So they have it as a CCA where actually Diane and her husband Michael are involved with in running that CCA, and some of the players from the women's national team do help out as well. As for why it's not out there as a more common CCA, I think that the struggle is basically, again, venue, right? We have to share the ice with public skating and all the other associations, as well as the equipment needs, and because it's only in Jurong, so if your school is out in Woodlands, then that could be a challenge.
Wow. Okay, one school.
Yeah, well, it starts with one. Like I said, we're all about growth, and if we focus on that, one could become more.
Okay. Do the national teams, both men and women, actually get to conduct coaching clinics and have sessions with the students, or even young kids from the public?
Young kids, right? So reaching out to the public and growing the game and growing an interest for the game and awareness for what ice hockey is important, because when I tell some of my friends that I play ice hockey, it's like, really, there's ice in Singapore? And what is ice hockey, right? And where's this rink?
We send them to Snow City.
Yeah, that's right. Snow City, Snow Balls and all that. So so it's about growing the awareness of the game. And I think since my involvement with SIHA, a couple of years back, I believe, I was down with these two, Sheena as well as Diane and Michael and some of the counterparts in the men's and women's national team, as well as my son, and we ran actually an open house concept where you come to the rink. Instead of just renting the skates, you're given some skates, you're given a hockey stick, and we had stations where they tried stick handling, skating, shooting, and all that, and I was rather successful. And I believe also some of the men's national team have gone to schools and spoken about ice hockey as well.
Okay. You fell in love with the sport since the age of 5, because your country of origin is Canada, and
right.
like you said, it's almost secondary to Canadians when it comes to ice hockey. What does one have to possess if you'd like to be an ice hockey player here,
in
especially?
Singapore. So in Canada, like I said, it's just part of fabric of who you are, right? Because after school, you head out to the outdoor rinks, just like you would with the futsal courts here. But over here, obviously, it's more of a challenge because knowing that ice hockey exists is one thing. But just like in any other sport, just have an interest to try something that's completely new. And like we might be biased, but we feel ice hockey is a fantastic game. If you look at the components of it, a player needs to have the anaerobic base and speed of a sprinter, because the shifts are 45 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You need to sustain 60 minutes and beyond stop time, more if you have overtime. So you need to have an aerobic base of a marathon runner as well. You need to have a strength to shoot the puck that can go as fast as 180 kilometers an hour. Imagine if you're a goalie with that thing coming at you, right?
Yeah.
And as a player, you need to avoid 5 other players trying to stop you as you stick handle on the ice. With players skating towards you at 40 kilometers an hour, right? And you're doing all this with full equipment and gear while standing on a 1.5 millimeter diameter of steel, which is part of the skate, on a slippery surface. Right? So obviously it's a fantastic game, it's a very unique game. In the context of going beyond just an interest and wanting to join a competitive, more competitive team like the national teams, what we look for is a passion for the game, commitment obviously because of our hours, and really ultimately a belief that we can compete with the rest of the countries despite our resources.
Okay. Diane,
Yes.
are your national teams still having to pay on their own to travel and compete overseas for ranking points in order to qualify to represent Singapore at major games? I know this happened once or twice in the past. There were instances where the men had to pay. I believe in 2017, they paid to travel to Japan to play in that tournament and secure qualifying points to represent Singapore at the SEA Games. I know they paid $3,000 if I'm not mistaken. I did the interview with the captain, so it's there on record. So are they still doing it today?
Unfortunately, yes, they are. All our players or athletes actually comes from works of life. So they are students, they are working adults, but yes, they have to pay for trainings, they have to pay for hockey expenses. So basically, when they travel, they actually have to pay for this. Yeah.
But you do get a grant from Sport SG annually, right? So that's not able to cover the training or...
No, even if there is grants, right, we will use this to help with our trainings. But it's just like not a big amount. It's like a small amount. So it's like it cannot sustain for the whole year program.
Yeah.
It's more like maybe it's like 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
This kind of stuff. Yeah.
In terms of sponsorships and partnerships, how is your NSA currently doing in that department?
This is a very good question. Well, we do have sponsorships, but the sponsorship will actually lead to our go to our leagues, where we actually run annual leagues. But we have donations, and this donation will actually go into our development program. So, with these two, they are actually helping for both sides. So, basically, but we are still trying more to get more sponsors and donors to help with the sports itself. Yes.
I'm sure it will come. Time to come.
I hope.
Yeah. The more and more people see that we actually have 2 ice hockey teams, men, women as well, it's only a matter of time. In light of the local community, what does SIHA do to engage them annually?
Like I said earlier, we actually runs tournaments, which is annually, the Lion City Cups, as well as the Ice Dragon Classic, which is for the youth division. And we also have the, which is the national program that we actually get, sometimes we will get invites these people to come and watch the games to have the atmosphere of it. Yeah, so, and we'll, if we are allowed to do so, we will try to run like a learn to play program clinics. That's where Alvin was mentioning, like they go to like small little station to try out this one so that they actually have a feel of it for this.
Obviously, those who come to try out must have a little experience in ice skating.
Minimum skating.
Minimum. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Singapore football has they have their own Lion City Cup. You've got your own Lion City Cup.
Yes.
What is your version of the Lion City Cup?
Ice Hockey Lion City.
Correct.
Yes.
But it's targeted at who?
We actually invite international. We have local teams as well, and we also invite like the women's teams to come for these tournaments. So they actually come from all over the place to enjoy these tournaments. Yeah, it's just to promote the sports that we love. So everyone will come together like a big family, get together to meet all the old friends. Yeah. And
So
on.
is it happening this year?
Yes, but not for the Ice Dragon Classic, for the youth division.
Okay. So when maybe you want to tell them when is the plan for the Lion City Cup?
It will be on the 11 to the 14th of March. for the Lion City Cup.
It's very soon.
Yes, it's very soon.
Is there a backup date just in case?
At the moment, no. It seems like we are going ahead because we have overseas team that will be coming, although it's not a lot, but they have already stand firm that they will be coming. So we couldn't postpone it because their flight is booked and so on like that.
Yeah. Okay. Sheena, as the captain of the women's team, what will you and your teammates be doing for the rest of 2020?
Because of the postpone of the CCOA, we'll still be training hard. In the event that the CCOA will not be rescheduled, we'll still be going ahead with regional tournaments like maybe Thailand or Hong Kong or Philippines for the tournament to get more exposure.
Okay. Is there one big defining target or goal which your team is working towards perhaps 2 to 4 years down the line?
For the past 2 years, we have actually gathered more like younger players on board. So we wish to grow our women's team more, like to get more players and even form a club level league for us, to form a full-fledged like women's league to get the different skill level women's team competing against each other to improve the skills level of women's in the ice hockey scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the international level, is there like a medal that you're hoping to win?
We hope to get out of our bronze medal comfort zone and to achieve
at the SEA Games.
SEA Games, we have the 10 medal there. There's one. Yeah.
Okay.
At the CCO level, we wish to get at least a silver medal.
Okay.
Yeah.
When's the next one?
They are going to postpone this year. Might be to June, but we are not sure yet of the dates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alvin, similar question about the men's team. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I did attend the final, the SEA Games. Spoke to your team captain. He did say the team needs to rejuvenate, inject more young blood. So is that still the case at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's region-wide. Excuse me. The same teams that competed in the SEA Games came up with the concept of a youth SEA Games 3 years ago, right? So with that notion, we were tasked with coming up with a bunch of players at that level, under 15, to compete in that set SEA Youth Games. It was a difficult time because we didn't have enough players to field the team. Yeah. So they gave us a bare minimum of 10 players plus 2 goalies, which we were able to do. Some were not able to. If you can skate, I give you a stick, you're on the team. Right? So we had those 5 kids. We went to compete in Malaysia, and the kids competed with their whole heart and soul, and they lost in the bronze medal game. Right?
This was last year.
This was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yes.
He hasn't taken.
So since then, we came back with the disappointment of not winning the bronze. But again, focusing on growth, those same 10 players in the very next year came up with our first unprecedented silver medal before the men's team did, beating the likes of Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and again losing to the powerhouse Thailand.
Okay.
Subsequent year, the last year, we lost 7 out of the 10 original kids to the men's team, which is a good thing. Infusion of youth. But with the remaining 3 seniors and again some younger players, underage players, we got the 5 main players to play the entire game. If you can imagine that, they never got off the ice. And once again, we bucked the odds and we came back with another silver medal. Again, losing to Thailand.
Yeah.
Right. So despite being undermanned, undersized, because we have a lot of underage players, it shows that we believe anything can happen and we can compete with all these countries.
Just to follow up, the team comprises all Singaporean players, or
you need to be
expatriate?
No, you have to be a Singapore player, and even if you're an expatriate, you need to. There's certain rules. You need to be within the country, playing for the country, or in the league within the country for a certain amount of time. And so we can't pull someone.
The cutoff age?
The cutoff age actually it's under 15, right? So typically teams that have a lot of players will have 14 to almost 15-year-olds. That's why they're huge and gigantic. But we may do with some younger players that are as young as 11.
And I don't think they're all from Hwa Chong International, right?
No.
Yeah.
Actually, we only have one from Hwa Chong International. Yeah.
Because you said just now only one school in Singapore has a
right.
CCA.
Yeah.
So that means you guys are, have surpassed expectations in terms of trying to still make it work with kids who just have the flair for the game and the passion for the game.
Yeah,
not necessarily from that one school in Singapore.
Yeah, so we continue to include these under 15 kids because this year, for the SEA Youth Cup, another 2 are graduating to the men's team, which is a good thing for the men's team, but for the under 15s, they're going to be short again. So we have one senior who's a goalie, and the rest of them are considered so-called juniors.
Okay. Right. And this is taking place in?
This should be taking place in, I think they're looking at maybe September.
Still got time.
Yeah, and the under 20s are in June.
All right. So that's the youth tournament, the under 20s, and then for the men's team, what's the major target to achieve in the next few years?
Again, it's about growth, right? So improving every day, putting our due diligence to do our best. As an association, it's really trying to grow the game by bringing about awareness that it exists. It's a fantastic game. Come out, have a try. We have a Learn to Skate program. We have a Learn to Play program that leads on to the Ice Dragon programs, which is run by expats, but it's tied into SIHA. And from there, they learn the fundamentals of hockey from people from Canada, Finland, who know about hockey. And then if they're Singaporean, we will flag them down, and they'll head over to our program, the UNTP.
Oh, nice. Okay. Diane, as the president of Singapore's Ice Hockey Association, we'll let you have the last word. What would you like to see our national teams achieve this year?
I hope they will do their best and achieve the best that they can be, and to set themselves with to play hockey in a happy environment. So to be able to do the best as they can be.
Okay.
Yes.
So Diane,
Yes.
in closing, what is your message to the Singaporeans and the public who follow the sport here? What is your message to them for this year?
I would like to thank the fans for their long and continuous support, and we will strive to do better and put Singapore on the international map.
Nice. Okay. Alvin Chan, Sheena Yap, Diane Fu, thank you very much for coming on board SG Sports Uncut, and it was a very honest and very passionate plea from SIHA, and you never know, the start of the new decade might open up new mindsets and new ideas.
Yes.
So everybody, fingers crossed, you might just get all your dreams fulfilled over the next couple of years. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
All the best for ice hockey.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.